Okay, folks, Pat Curley, LearnCigarBoxGuitar.com. There's the site, that's me there. The boss, whole bunch of things on this site, a whole bunch of free stuff. And I'm going to add to that with this video on how to use this bit of software here. It's called Musescore to get 6-string tab and convert it into tab for 4 or 3-string. So that's what we're about here. Right, now, there's some 6-string tab. You can see I've already copied it down to there just to save a little bit of time. And we're going to show you how to turn that into a 4 and a 3-string tab. Before we do though, we just need to understand a little bit about how the software works, what these lines represent, and some of the problems that you're inevitably going to encounter. Right? Now, the first thing is here on a 6-string guitar, you've got 6 strings, and on a 4-string you only got 4. So something's got to give. Yeah. The tuning here is E from the bottom, the low E, A, D, G, B, E. Unless on the tab it tells you something else, but usually that's your standard tuning. On a common tuning on 4 strings is G, D, G, B, and that's the one we'll be using here. On 3 strings it's G, D, G. I can change that tuning if I want by going to Staff Properties, Edit String Data, and changing the tuning. Right, so if you've got a different tuning, that's how you do it. But for now, we've got to settle on something, and so I'm going for those more common ones. So that means that some notes that you might find on the tab may not work up here. And even less likely maybe that some of them will work here. So let's have a look at how that works. Before we do that though, I'm going to show you how to input a note onto this. Now that note symbol up there, that N symbol, corresponds to that our function of being able to add a note. Right? Now when I add a note there, you can see that there's a note symbol. I can use any one of these up here for this. I'm going to select that one. Now, it doesn't really matter which one I select because the tab gives you no rhythmic information, and that's what these things are all about. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit where you can see that a bit better, maybe depending on your screen. So there we go. So because there's no rhythmic information here, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, it doesn't really matter which ones of these I use. Let's go with this one. So if I say I'm going to put a note, say there's a note on the tab, it's an open E string on the bottom. If I select that and it says 0, right, if I copy that, so now what I do is I select that bar, copy it to there. Houston, we have a problem, right? That red bar there means, sorry mate, not going to work. Likewise, no good there. So that's a problem you might come up with. Okay, I'm trying to select that bar. How do I do that? Just click anywhere? I'll click on that. All right. So the minimum number you need there for this to work is, so I'm going to click on that, hit the number. I'm going to delete that. That's what I'm going to do. Delete that one. Where are we? Go. Right. Input a new note now. Input a new note there. Now I'm going to make that a 3 and copy that one to here. Now it works because that 3rd note on the E string is a G, and that's my G string there. So when you're looking at your 6-string tab, if there's anything on that, if there's a 0 or a 1 or a 2 there, you're going to come into some problems that aren't insurmountable. It just means you need to change key or something like that. Or take it up an octave, but that's the thing there. Likewise, if you come across on the 4-string a note, let's do another one up here. Let's put that on the, I don't know, on the 12th string at the top there. It's a pretty high note. If I copy that, copy that bar now to there. It's taken it way up on the 17th fret. Now, that maybe is okay if you want to play it up there, but it's a long way up. If I try and do that on the 3-string, I get the little red dot again. Sorry, mate. I'm not going to go there. So if it's too high or if it's too low, you might have some issues that you need to fix. And we'll look at how to fix those later, but just be aware of that before you start. Okay? Right. If not, so let's look at this one, born under a bad sign. Right? These 4 strings, the G, D, G, B strings, kind of correspond to the 4 middle strings here. And the only note that I've got on the bass string, on the bottom string, are 6 and 3, which are within the range. Remember we said 3 was the lowest one we could use. So this one's going to work, theoretically. Let's find out. So I copy that to there, and I copy that to there, and there's my tab, right? On the 4 string. If I do the same thing there, I've got it on the 3 string. It's pretty simple. We didn't really have to learn too much. We just had to be aware that there was a range that we were looking for in our riff, and we found one that worked for us, and there's going to be lots of others, and we're able to just copy and paste it onto the new line. Just want to talk a little bit though about why when you click on that you don't get all the notes. If I go to here and say show the bar lines, I get this. Now I've deliberately left those out. When you open a new file here, you'll have them in. But I've deliberately left them out so that it looks more like that, because that's what you're going to find on the internet. And just didn't want to confuse people that are trying to do what I've just shown you how to do there. So you can see that when I select, it just selects 1 bar. That's just how it works, right? If I want to select more than 1 bar, let's just get rid of the bar lines again. What do we do? Staff properties. If I want to select the whole thing, okay, I just go to the first note, hit shift and the second note, and that's it. I've got it. And then I can copy that to wherever I want to copy it to. And then that's it, job done, beauty. Let's play it, let's find another riff that satisfies all those things, and off we go. What happens though if you want to play something that's causing that doesn't fit so well, right? For example, here's the opening riff to Stairway to Heaven. If I copy that one to there, I get this. Now don't panic, that looks a bit odd. How can I play the 1st fret there and the 12th fret at the same time? You can't. But here's what you can do. You can click it and drag that note down to here, and it plays the same note on the next string. You can see it's up on the 6th fret. Well, that's a bit better, but I'm still never going to be able to reach that. Let's go to the next one, and that's on the 13th fret. So that's playable, isn't it? You've got the 13th fret there and the 12th fret there. And you can see I can do all this as well. I might like to do it better though. See this shape here, where we're going from that string up to the next one? If we were to play that note on that string, that note down here on this one, and this one down here on this one, now we're much closer. It's still not ideal just because of the tuning, but that's a lot more playable than what it was when we had everything up on the top. Now likewise, bring that one down to there and leave that one there. And now we can, let's see if it sounds anything like Stairway. Yeah, it's pretty close. And you've solved that problem. Now if I try and do that on the 3 string, theoretically, we do all the same things. that's going to be a little bit more tricky, isn't it? But that's it there if you want to have a crack. What if we go to there? That might be a bit easier. Yeah? Now, if you really wanted to play that on your 3-string and you found that that was no good, what you can do is, let's select all of that, put it in a different key. So we go Tool and Transpose. You've got a couple of options. You can transfer it to a different key by telling us what the key is, or you can go up and down an interval. You don't know what key you've put it in the first place, I'd imagine, so changing keys is probably just going to be confusing. Let's talk about intervals. Now, an interval is just a gap, a space. If I go down because it's too high, then we click on that and you get a whole lot of options. Now, people that understand this stuff, it's no big deal, and they use these fancy names to impress their friends, but you don't really need to know exactly what all these things mean. Just that means a small distance, that means a large distance, right? So if I wanted to take it, say, a medium distance, I go in the middle somewhere, do that. So I'm taking it down a medium distance, hit OK, and it's moved all that down a little bit. Now I grab that and I'll do a similar thing. No, don't do that. Right, so that might be a little bit more playable. It's going to sound different because it's in a different key, but that's another way that you can get around this problem. Okay, that's going to cause you some more problems down the track. I'm not going to try and play Stairway to Heaven on a 3-string because if you do that, you come across other problems. You get notes that are too low as you move down, etc. But I just use that to, like I say, illustrate some of the problems you'll come across and perhaps how to fix them. You'll get a whole lot of joy out of this way of doing things without having to worry about that if you can pick just simple riffs. If you really want to learn a little bit more about the theory and how to do all this, I've got a free theory course on my website. I'd have a look at the harmonic theory and this section here on reading the dots and some of the information you need to know about converting 6-string tabs, so naming notes and what key am I in and all that type of thing. That can help you with that. But like I say, just to play some simple stuff, if you understand the problems around range, converting a 6-string to a 4 or a 3, and the fact that your tab has limitations as well that you need to address, then it's just a matter of plugging it in and copying and pasting. Get to know this program. All right, so I'll put all the relevant links up there, where to get this document from on my website, how to get the software if you haven't already, and have a play, see what you can come up with. Cheers.